Thanks for tuning in to No Wine in No Time. I'm your host Dave, and today I'm going to introduce you to one of my favorite black skin red wine grapes, and that's one called Graciano. What? You've never heard of Graciano? Well, don't feel bad. It's a very small production grape that is thought to be native to the northern part of Spain and grows in an area called Navarra and also Rioja. However, there are also small quantities of it planted in Languedoc in southern France, and they also claim it as a grape of their own, but they call it by a different name, and that's Morrastel. Now, why is Graciano in such small production around the world? It's because the grape itself is quite difficult to cultivate. And what I mean by that is, A, it ripens very, very late in the year. So think about Northern Hemisphere, we're harvesting in the fall. This grape won't ripen until the end of October. And because of that, it presents some significant challenges to the winemaker itself. Because it's so late in the season, the grapes themselves are susceptible to mold and mildew. Obviously that causes problems. Also, winemakers have kind of put it out of favor because it's such a low yielding grape. And by that I mean on each vine there may only be a few clusters of Graciano grapes. But remember, one of the things we talk about endlessly in No Wine in No Time is the lower the yield, the higher the quality. And Graciano is a high quality grape. So for those that accept the challenge, Graciano wines are absolutely beautiful. By textbook, they produce moderately tannic wines that are extremely aromatic and really long-lived in the wine cellar itself. So when we think about some of those wine regions that have Graciano, let's focus for a second on Rioja. When we look at Rioja, it's all about a grape called Tempranillo. Tempranillo is the backbone of all the blends that are made in Rioja. However, Graciano is one of the authorized blending grapes, and they use it in small quantities in most Rioja red blends. However, if you keep your eyes open and you look in your local wine store, you'll see the word Graciano very prominently displayed on the label if it's from Rioja or if it's from Navarra, and it's 100% Graciano. I'm not saying it's a common wine by any means, but if you do happen to find one of these, you seek it out, you pull a cork, you'll be so happy you did. Now in Rioja, where this particular specimen came from, when it's 100% Graciano, it has broken all the traditional wine laws of Rioja. That doesn't mean it's a bad wine. It means that it's not a traditional wine. So because of that, we're going to see the little hologram sticker on the back of the Rioja wine label listed as green in color and Joven by description, Joven meaning young. So in the hierarchy of how they age wines, all the way up to Gran Reserva in Rioja, this would be the lowest level. But don't ever think lowest quality. These are really amazing wines, and if you can find one, once again, you'll be happy you did. So let's go ahead and taste one of these Gracianos and see what we might expect when we walk into the wine store. So I have a selection today from a winemaker by the name of Untitled. And Untitled produces this in Rioja, Spain, and it's 100% Graciano. So if we take a look at the wine, the first thing that we'll notice is the wine is very, very deep and dark purple in color, which is really a reflection of Graciano, which has a lot of anthocyanins. That's the thing that makes purple purple, and because of that, it has a beautiful color in the glass. If we swirl to liberate the aromas, what leaps out of the glass is something between very, very dark black fruits, think things like plums and blackberries, a little bit of spicy, almost a cedar or vanilla note, which tells me this wine has spent significant time in oak. Also a bit of spiciness. We smell baking spices kind of wafting out of the glass. Really very complex. And just think, from an aromatic standpoint, this now hit three things: fruity, spicy, and we're detecting a little bit of some savory notes. Really quite exceptional. So let's go ahead and taste the wine. Wow. As Ondolon's Graciano passes through the palate, we're met on the front side of the palate by some very bright red fruits. Think things like a cherry, almost like a damson plum on the front side of the palate. Mid-palate, we feel that extreme acidity kick in. All of those spices come out. I'm getting every note from cedar to toasted oaky vanilla on the mid-palate, and on the back side of the palate, an incredible grip of tannins. This wine has a very stout structure, and this wine is from 2014, so being 2022, it's almost 8 years old. It's held up absolutely beautiful. It's bright, it's vibrant, it's got depth, and it's really got some beautiful complexity. So you might be wondering what exactly we would have with a wine like this. In other words, what cuisine would go well with it? Well, the first thing I would say is something that's kind of native to their area. So think chorizo sausages. So those go very well with a Graciano. Then in kind of the middle, let's say we're thinking more vegetarian fare, think spicy beans like lentils, something with a lentil preparation. And finally, back on the meat side, think lamb. So why those three? Graciano is quite a spicy wine in the glass, and those three are kind of spicy meats, so we match strength with strength in the glass. So I'm going to get back and enjoy a little bit of Ondolon's creation, and I ask that you come back next time, because soon you'll know wine in no time.